John Farinacci. We already knew he wasn't going to sign with the Coyotes, but he signed with a team in the Eastern Conference, and Yan Yannick wants out. Let's get right into it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, your number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am your host, Robin Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube and on the Sirius XM radio app. Just be sure to search up Locked On Coyotes. We got a good episode for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit about Coyotes prospects.
Losing prospects. Is this a good one? Is this
It's-
going to be the fun, good, high quality content we normally talk about, Robin?
It's not the fun, arena speculation like we did earlier this week. I know a lot of you guys had fun poking fun at us for choosing for like speculating that it might be a recharge pond in Mesa, but
I didn't even read the comments on that. Were the comments fun? Should I go back and read the comments on that
some
one?
of them.
All right, maybe I should.
All
right,
I'll just say one of them was like, "Hey, Blackhawks fans would love that site. If you know the site, the area, of course, it make sense."
Oh,
But-
yeah, because the it's right, not that far away. I think it's basically across the street from the Cubs.
Yep,
Site.
exactly.
So we got Boston signs another former Coyotes prospect, and this one is not a shall we say, questionable moral individual. This one is definitely a better signing for Boston. John Farinacci. This one angers me. I get it. We already knew it's a 2-year entry-level contract worth $1.82 million.
Mm-hmm.
This kid was good in Harvard last year, and I feel kind of misled and lied to. Not because he said he was going to sign in Arizona or anything, but because I actually invested in this kid as an ASU fan, paying attention to a couple other colleges because the Coyotes have some college prospects. And I'm like, I was actually paying attention to Harvard as much as I could. He's the captain of the team, 19 games, 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points, above a point per game, 1 point more than the previous season in which he played 29 games. So 10 more games. He had more goals, but just less points. This guy is a very solid NHL level prospect. And according to Craig Morgan's reporting, Bill Armstrong stated they've been trying to sign him for the last couple of years, and I just hate how it didn't work out. And then he signs with Boston for nothing. And like I said, at the very least, this one doesn't commit hate crimes. But why do we got to keep losing our players to Boston for nothing?
It really is upsetting. I mean, this one, it definitely does sting. And going back to when we knew already that Farinacci wasn't going to sign with the Coyotes, I kind of said how upsetting that was at the moment because, it's funny and I kind of make this comparison just mainly because it's the way it's the connection that I use to kind of tell you, how much I've been following John Farinacci. And it's, when I first took the reign as host of Locked On Coyotes, John Farinacci was dominating the World Junior Championship, and that was my topic for the first couple of days. My first episode, I think my first 2 episodes, had like at least a segment or an entire episode dedicated to John Farinacci, and I'm like, oh, the Coyotes are gonna be great once he gets here. And he's not. He's going to freaking Boston instead. Of all cities, it's got to be Boston. It's got to be. Why? And again, you're right. At least, it's. I mean, maybe Boston got it. At least, hey, sure, they might like the signed former Coyotes, and like you said, at least this one doesn't have a questionable past.
I'm trying to figure out where Harvard is. I know it's up there in on the East Coast.
It's up there in the New England area.
Yeah, Cambridge. So, like, it makes sense, but it's just from what I can tell, this kid's a very complete prospect. And I'm actually looking at his elite prospects page right now. Quote: Farinacci's best asset is his shot. He has a quick release and gets good wood on his shot. If you're getting a guy that can have a somewhat NHL level shot, that helps. And it just he's related to a lot of people. Ryan Donato's his cousin, his brother Anthony Farinacci. We're moving on. But like it sucks because this kid had that mindset of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and it instantly made me fall in love with the idea of this kid being on this team because I want people with the correct attitude. People are going to come in here and work. That is a Bill Armstrong guy drafted 2 years before Bill gets here. Before Bill's first draft. I think his first was 2021 because 2020 he wasn't allowed to participate. So 2 years before his first draft, this is a Bill Armstrong type player, and we lose him for nothing. And again, according to that article Craig Morgan released a couple of days ago, they tried. And I get the logic. I was not aware of this before, but in case anyone else watching this was like me and was not aware, you don't draft kids from Harvard because it's so hard to get into Harvard. Most kids will not leave early. So if you're going to spend all 4 years there anyway, you might as well wait the extra 4 or 5 months and get to pick where you want to go. So it's just another example of a Harvard kid. I think the other biggest example is it Fox who forced his way to the Rangers? There was a kid that forced his way to the Rangers. I think he was a defenseman and literally forced the way over. I will not sign with the team that drafted me. You got another prospect that does this. So pretty much moving forward, if you draft a kid that's committed to Harvard, you should probably get fired because it's not going to work out well for you.
I remember, I mean, I'm not sure, this wasn't really crazy on the draft, and this player didn't really make out too much, but it happens. It happens. I was talking, and who's this player? Remember Merrick Madsen, goalie, one of the goalie prospects.
Yes, he played for Tucson for a couple years, didn't he? And then he went over to Europe.
He was pretty good behind.
That was the Aiden Hill days,
that was like right. Hill. Yeah, I think Hunter Miska was still there for some reason.
I miss Hunter Miska, dude. But he was not a bad goalie.
But Merrick Madsen was there, was part of that team, and he was on that good team too. And it was funny too because I was covering the team for Five for Howling at the time, and I asked my Five for Howling readers, I was like, hey, what questions would you like me to ask Harvard grad Merrick Madsen? And literally it was like, why, like, what would you be doing if it weren't for hockey? And I forgot what he said exactly. It's been several years ago. I think he did accounting, so like being like in some another accounting firm. But he says, luckily I don't have to do that because I still get to play the game I love a little bit longer.
For a little bit. We got a couple more years.
Yeah, a couple more years. But but then again, that was beside the point. That was like, again, he didn't even make it to the NHL.
He didn't even get the one game played. He didn't even get the one cup of coffee.
Maybe I want to say maybe he got one shot. I will say this: I do like. I do love his Twitter handle. I think not sure if he still uses that Twitter handle.
I am trying.
He does still have that Twitter handle. You know what his Twitter handle is?
What?
@Miracle on Ice.
That's awesome. Are you ready for the word from FanDuel, Robin? Let's throw it out to the audience. All right, we got a word from FanDuel, sponsor of this show. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long because right now, when you bet on the Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick a team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every single victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon.
You know, Matt, just to annoy you, I'm gonna bet on the 49ers for that, just so I can keep getting my money, so I can get my free bets.
I am 5 minutes away from just not doing a show with you anymore. You, I not only do I have to deal with a Californian, I gotta deal with a Northern Californian. All right, literally crap-covered streets, and you still wanna glorify. You want to glorify the Sabercats and the 49ers. I hate the Cardinals, by the way, but I'm an Arizona boy. I'm going to root for those Redbirds to hopefully go back to St. Louis, but I'm going to root for them because I'm an Arizona boy. I hate my life. Anyway, we got a couple more prospects to talk about. This one, I'll keep it short and sweet. This one, Anthony Romano, he was picked by the Coyotes 6th round, 176th overall. He was not signed by the team. He's going back to Clarkson for one more year. That will be his super senior year. Best of luck to you moving forward. Not a whole lot to comment on that, but we do have a story with Jan Jeník. Jan Jeník is a player that I very much like in Tucson, but it appears, well, I'm just going to give you a paraphrase of a conversation I had in one of the couple of games he had. He gets called up. He took 2 penalties after playing almost no time on the ice, got immediately set back down, and I didn't get to watch that part of the game. I was working, but the individual I was talking to is pretty much like, yeah, no, he went out there, committed some bad penalties, and wasn't even playing tonight. He was terrible. Yet for Tucson, 7 goals, 16 assists, 23 points in 30 games. Season prior, 21-22, 51 games, 17 goals, 30 assists, 47 points. Definitely a bit of a step back, but also less games played. I know he had a couple of little cups of coffee in the NHL. I do believe he's also dealing with a minor injury down there. But this is a kid at the AHL level is fine. Middle sixer AHL, I'm completely okay with that. I like him in that role, but he kind of feels replaceable. And allegedly, look, his agent is, I think, Alan Walsh, who is a mega douche, by the way, blocked me on Twitter because I rightfully pointed out the fact that he's constantly crying about the triple hard salary cap when literally him and his associates stand to make more money by having a luxury tax system. You're not doing this for the players. You're doing it because it opens up the checkbook for you. Anyway, little side rant out of the way. I don't like Alan Walsh. I got that axe to grind. You know, he's represented by Alan Walsh.
Backstabber.
Oh, that's the same guy, isn't it? That's the same guy.
That isn't the same guy.
Wow, this guy's been a mega douche for years. Anyway, so yeah, Alan Walsh, mega douche. That's got to be borderline. That's got to be PG-13. I think I can get away with that one, but just in case we got to talk to you, that's going on me. But seriously, he's got a cancerous representation, let's just say. And he's not even that good. This is not an attack on Jan himself. He's a decent AHL player. I like him. In the AHL, I just don't see him translating to the NHL, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, especially someone that was drafted 3rd round, right? Yeah, 3rd round.
Yeah, his was, it's right here. Yeah, 3rd round, 65th overall, 2018. That's
so like you don't expect much from him, and you thought he'd do. I mean, I thought it would maybe take a few years for him to develop, but I definitely knew I saw him as a power forward because that's what I saw him in Tucson as, and I'm like, I just want to see more. Every year, I kept saying that, but I felt like he either was progressing really slowly or he hit his ceiling. So I was like, okay, this is where he's going to be. I don't think he's going to get much past that. And it's unfortunate because I was hopeful for him. But yeah, I think it's really interesting the fact that we're at this stage where we're talking about him potentially not being a part of the Coyotes anymore. As he did he request a trade?
I probably should bring up the article real quick, but I'm pretty sure it was they are exploring trade options was the exact quote, but I'll just call it officially a paraphrase because the article is not in front of me at this very second. But it's just, this perplexed me because, again, decent AHLer. No hard feelings. I will not change my mind on Yan himself. Decent AHLer, like him in Tucson. I would like him to remain in Tucson this season. Last year was a setback, but he's a point per game playoff player because he has 3 playoff games, 3 points. It looks like you're about to say something, Robin. You wanted to chime in here real quick?
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to make sure I was giving you the opportunity, but no, it's like decent player. I would like him to stay in Tucson. What is your trade market? Because at the NHL level, his best performance, he's a goal per game player in 2020, 2021, where he had 2 games played and 2 goals, and then 21-22, where he actually had a solid little stint, 13 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Again, very small sample sizes, but he hasn't really done that much. And it also, like, it started off well, was okay for the second year, no impact at all last year. And then again, I think he was dealing with a minor injury as well. I don't know what his trade market is. I don't know what he thinks the trade market is. His best option genuinely might just be go play in Europe for the year and then try out for other teams next year when you're a UFA, because I don't know where the market is. Unless we're taking on a bad player that has a year or 2 left on their contract they just want to get rid of, I don't see it, because who's going to give up a draft pick for him? Oh, we can wait a year and try him out in a year. He can develop 1 more year in Europe. Okay, why waste the asset? And again, nothing against Yan. I'm just looking at it from a business perspective. What is the market here?
It's definitely a good question. I think it's tough because, like, I'm sure there's a team that's maybe looking for a power forward that at the very least can utilize him as like a top line AHLer, like a quadruple A player who can easily get some stint minutes in the NHL. And with the Coyotes system, with the right, which surprisingly, it's surprising that I'm saying this, with the depth they have already in forwards, he's just moving further and further down that it just doesn't fit, regardless of what his size is. I think he's 6'1", 185, and he's got okay size, but other players are either outsizing him or just have a better skill, or both. And he just doesn't. He's just like not. Again, he's just not making it there. So maybe there's a team that fits that he fits their mold a little bit better and is able to get the minutes a little bit better. I just don't see it in Arizona.
No, it just, Tucson could use him this year, but okay, it's always sounds weird to say it, but I'm going to assume you guys understand what I'm saying here. He chose a bad year to have a down year last year. It's not even about the cup of coffee in Arizona and you take a couple bad penalties in one of your only 2 games. It's not a good look. But even in Tucson, he was still below a point per game. And with how talented this kid can be, I would expect a little more out of someone who should be solidly top 6 in Tucson, because he showed it right about a point per game in 2021-22, 47 points in 51 games, 30 of those being assists. He also has an okay pass. This is a solid player that just, again, I do believe off the top of my head, he was dealing with a minor injury last year because he clearly missed some time, but it just, you chose the worst possible year with a system that has so many kids coming up. So many laneways are being clogged up. I just think the timing of everything was terrible.
And it especially doesn't help where, again, sure, he's still got some build, but I think, especially still doesn't help that he's a Chaika kid and not an Armstrong kid.
Yeah, and if he was and look, 6'1", 192, that's decent size. He's listed as a winger / center. I've mostly only seen him play at wing, but I do believe he also played some center in Tucson. Because I've seen a couple of the lineups, so he does play both. He both theoretically should be a perfect Armstrong guy, and also kind of feels like he wouldn't be. And it's one of the weirdest things to attempt to describe, because obviously he loves him some power forwards, but when the power forwards at 22 are starting to have down years offensively, that's kind of a problem because normally power forwards are supposed to regress in their late 20s, early 30s, not early 20s. And I don't know what would be in front of him. I don't know what would be blocking him. I don't know. Down in Tucson, it seems like the offense got better last year, but he didn't. It was still okay. It was decent. I'm not, again, I'm not changing my mind on the kid. He's not a bad player or anything.
No, yeah, you're
But
right.
when you got these kids coming up, what the hell are we doing here? Acting like you got a trademark it. I have to believe this is coming from Alan Walsh. Mega douche Alan Walsh. I have to believe that because Yan seems like a decent kid. Decent player. I have to believe if we realize this as fans, we realize it as nobody YouTubers that wants to pretend on media, I guarantee agents and people within the business, other coaches, other GMs realize it too. Yan probably outlived his usefulness in this system because he was still around when we didn't have that many prospects. Now we have too many and one remaining contract slot.
We're talking about him being on a Tucson team that's got, let me take a look. It's going to have John Leonard, Ben McCartney, Ryan McGregor, Josh Doan, Milos Kellerman, Akuratu, probably like
Liam Kirk.
I hope so. I want to see more from Liam Kirk.
Dude, I'm so he played okay in the ECHL, just good. I think he played okay
Injury
on loan.
plagued him. His very first game in Tucson, he got injured, and I felt so bad. I was excited to see him. I really wanted to get a Liam Kirk Kachina Roadrunners jersey. I was excited for him to be a part of the Roadrunners.
And like, there's still time. Like, he's still got time in the contract, but like, 11 points in 15 games last year in the ECHL. I need this kid playing in Tucson. And also on loan, he had 19 points in 25 games in Liga. Solid numbers. I need you in Tucson. I need you on the first line. I need you producing because I still like Liam Kirk. Unfortunately, he's probably not even top 15 in the system anymore because they have too many. Because they have too many players.
I still have belief that Liam Kirk could be one of those 7th round diamond in the refs, but.
He can be, and I hope he is, but like with how many prospects we got, he ain't top 15 no more. And that makes me sad.
He can't be. No.
That makes me sad. Anyway, we are so off track. Apologize. Getting back to Jan Unique. I don't understand the logic here. I genuinely don't get it. He's probably going to have to go to Europe or sit. And for athletes that are developing, sitting is the worst possible thing you could do. So he's going to Europe. I'm just gonna call my shot now. The kid's going to Europe. He'll be a UFA next year because I know he wants to chase his NHL dream. And I do hope he finds a bottom 6 role in the NHL. Because at the AHL, he has a different use than he does in the NHL. A bottom 6 role anywhere next year, fully supportive of that. I just don't know what the hell is the logic behind this because there is no market. There just isn't.
It's interesting because, there are players who I believe, it's kind of funny that I believe play better in the NHL than in the AHL. Mm-hmm. I don't think Jan Unique is one of those. I was kind of say because another player that kind of floated around and is also on a contract here, Victor Soderstrom. I still think he's got some years to develop, but he does play better at the NHL level than he does at the AHL level. It just so happens that there's a lot of moving parts that still needs more seasoning, but it's tough.
It's tough. It's frustrating. I am just flabbergasted and annoyed. And again, I don't want to blame it on Yan himself. The kid is just trying to chase his dream. The kid probably knows, like the rest of us, he doesn't really have a spot here anymore. And his agent is just mega douching it up. And now we got to deal with the repercussions. And look, it's gonna make him look bad. Because I guarantee if you just see the headline, Unique's demanding a trade. First off, all right, people that are good in Arizona don't get the proper credit until they're number 4 overall in Calder votes. And even then, they're still not going to get the credit. All right, unless you're Lawson Krause and they're saying, "Oh, you're great, but we'll give you a 4th-round pick for him. We'll take him off your hands." Stupidity, right? So we're already not in the market that's going to get the credit. But then you got a kid that's just kind of pretty good in the AHL demanding a trade. You're going to read the headline and be like, "Who the hell are you?"
I almost forgot about him at one point. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. We still have Jan Unique.
Like, and again, I'm sorry. I don't think Jan will watch this. And if you do, I want to make it clear one last time. We do not hate you. We're not mad at you. We're just kind of flabbergasted at the situation. I have one of your game used jerseys over here that I won at an auction, a lottery at, I think the game I went to go watch Josh Doan's first game. Sitting over there, Jan Unique. I don't know why it was Jan Unique, but that was the jersey raffle that night. I like Jan Unique. You got to call your agent and tell him to shut the hell up, man. You got to call your agent and be like, dude, give me a 1-year contract, walk me to free agency or whatever the hell. Or like, give me a 1-year, I'll prove myself contract and then trade him at the deadline. Like, score 25 for Tucson and can earn your way the hell out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I could also just put a diss on my own city that I lived in for 7 years, but maybe he just is sick and tired of living in Tucson.
I'm sick and tired of thinking about Tucson, and I live nowhere near there.
He's lived there less years than I did, but
we don't believe in Tucson down here. ASU. I got nothing behind me to back me up, by the way. I gotta fix that. Anyway.
See that?
Fire your agent.
Right behind me, Matt. See that picture? That is. I mean, it's hard because this light is kind of blocking it, but that is from a U of A hockey game that I took a picture of.
Well, U of A stinks. Anyway, Jan, fire your agent. Try to see if Tucson will sign you to a 1-year AHL contract, and there you go. Just see what the hell happens. I think he wouldn't be allowed to because he's an RFA, but I don't know. Maybe.
I mean,
talk to Bill Armstrong for a 1-year contract.
Figure it out.
Because he rejected the qualifying offer. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Qualifying offer. I mean, I don't even know what his minor league salary.
I think it was like $775K. I think that was his qualifying offer. He rejected it.
But that would have been his if he made it to the NHL. Minor league salary is a little bit different.
Unless it's a one-way contract, then you're guaranteed the same number. But I guarantee it would have been a one-way.
I mean, he probably could have tried to ask for a one-way, but they wouldn't have given it to him.
I mean, just to have this over with, maybe. I don't know. This is a weird saga. This is not Jacob Chychrun is okay with leaving. This is not like a good NHLer wants out. This is Jan Unique. I just do the outro before I get someone mad at me. Do the outro. I just don't get it.
Well, I guess that's going to be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube and the SiriusXM radio app. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. On the app, formerly known as Twitter, at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robin_Leonio. Matt Jacobson's at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us. Ask a question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Also, you can make fun of us for our proposal earlier this week because, why not?
Make fun of us for whatever you want. I like it because I'm blissfully unaware. I barely check the comments. You could be calling me Chubbs McKenzie. I'm not gonna realize. I don't read the comments.
I will tell this to everyone, to all those listeners out there. I do read almost each one of your comments. Unless you write me a paragraph, I'm not reading that. like a short story. I'm not reading a novel, guys. I'm not reading.
I'm not reading that. I'm sorry for you, or I'm happy for you.
Keep it short. Keep it simple. I'll be more than happy to respond to you, interact with you guys. But
Just
anyways,
comment fire AZ Sports Guy. There you go. Just comment that.
Sure. But that's gonna be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy, and don't forget to howl on.